Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is The Simplicity of the Simple. And pretty much Elder Pastor was doing a lesson, and he kind of mentioned, somebody should do a lesson on the simple or something along those lines. So what I did, I really didn't have anything else. Any other lesson to go into was kind of, waiting to see if the Spirit hit me to do a lesson. I've been watching videos and stuff. Nothing was really hitting me. So I decided just to go ahead and jump on that, what Elder Pastor said through the Spirit. And I put a couple of precepts together. We'll go through them. Lord's will, it'll be edifying. And we'll see how long the lesson will be. But in looking for just a picture just to put in front, I like to do that. I found this quote that was pretty interesting by somebody named Alexander Solzhenitsyn. I know I butchered that. I don't know exactly what language that is, but it's a hard pronunciation. But part of his quote is, mutual lack of understanding carries the threat of imminent and violent destruction. And that is true, because understanding is the key to this knowledge. Let's go real quick before we go to any of these other precepts. Let's go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 4 and verse 7. It says, wisdom is a principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all that getting, get understanding. Because the ultimate is to be able to understand. You have knowledge, you have wisdom, but the ultimate benefit of them all is to get the understanding. Because once you have the understanding, then that knowledge and wisdom is profitable unto the person that has that understanding. There's another precept that came to mind, so let me just pull it up. Let's go real quick to 2 Corinthians chapter 3, and then let's go back here. The word understanding is the word bayana, which comes from the Hebrew word bayan, which means between. It's also understanding, but the word bayana is understanding, discernment, act, faculty, object, personified, to be able to understand. So let's look up the word understand in the common dictionary real quick. Understand, perceive the intended meaning of words, a language, or a speaker. In this case, the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Let's see something. Just bear with me right quick. Something's coming to mind. How many? 100? Wow, 189. This is it. So we're going to go to it anyway. So I already have it on the list. Just something that popped in my head. So understand also is interpret or view something in a particular way. So the main thing we're dealing with is perceive the intended meaning of words, a language, or a speaker. In this case, the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Because you have many that that read the Bible. Some of them read the Bible. Some people quote the Bible, but not very many have the understanding. This is why, let's go real quick to Amos chapter 3 and verse 7. It says, surely the Lord power will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. So the bottom line is, you have prophets, you have true leaders, true speakers, true teachers, and then you also have the false ones. And that's all up to the Lord. No one can make themselves a righteous prophet, just like no one can make themselves a wicked prophet. This is all in the hands of the Lord. Whoever is meet for those positions, that's who the Lord is going to put in those positions. Now, the other precept I want to get here before we go to these other precepts is the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 3, which is I love to go to, because the point is having understanding. We know that the scriptures in itself are or is Yahushai. And there's also a spirit that comes with the Bible, with the words in the book that give the proper understanding. Because Yahushai is the word. Let's go real quick to Revelation chapter 19. And we're going to go straight to the point. 13. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of the Most High. So Yahushua is the Word of the Most High. Why? Because it was prophesied of him that he would come. And when he did come, what happened? He was manifested in the flesh. He became flesh. St. John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word. The word, when you go to the Greek, is the word logos. All right, the word logos, of speech, a word uttered by a living voice, embodies a conception or idea. And he was the beginning of the creation of the Most High. And through him is where we get the proper understanding, the acknowledging of the truth. See, which is in godliness, not in guile, not in ungodliness, but in godliness, because you have distinctions in understanding. Right here, it says, in John denotes the essential word of the Most High, Yahushai, the personal wisdom and power in union with the Most High, his minister in creation and government of the universe. Perfect. The cause of all the world's life, both physical and ethical, which for the procurement of man's salvation, which is the Israelite man's salvation, put on Israelite nature in the person of Yahushua. That's what should be there, not human nature. In the person of Yahushua, the Messiah, the second person in the Godhead, which knows there is a Godhead, but the way they're making it seem is like a Trinity. All right, so I don't want to say that the wrong way. So there is a power head. You have the Most High, Yahushua, and the Holy Spirit, but they are three separate entities that agree in one, and shown forth conspicuously from his words and deeds. Okay? So, going back, and you know what? Since this is coming to mind, let's go real quick to Hebrews 10, and then we'll come back. Hebrews 10:7. Then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me to do thy will, O Most High. So Yahushua comes in the volume of the book, in the whole book. That's why it says here in John 1:1, in the beginning was the Word. Yahushua is the Word. The Word spoke of him before the foundation of the world. We could read 1 Peter. He was that lamb that was to shed his blood before the foundation of the world. He is the go-to man. He is the man that the Most High set up, his son, for us to be able to be reconciled back to the Heavenly Father. It says, and the Word was with the powers, because there are many gods, but there's one power, Yahweh, and then you have Yahushai and Satan and the rest of the angels and Michael and and Uriel and Raphael and all of the rest of the angels on the right hand and on the left hand. So there are many gods, but there's only one true power. That's Yahweh, whose son's name is Yahushai. So he was with the powers, and the Word was a God. It should be here, a God or a power, as it's written out in the red Bibles that we have. All right. So it says, the same was in the beginning with the Most High, or with the powers. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. Why? Because the Lord set it up for him to make these things. He created him. First Spirit created. That's why he's called the only begotten, or the first begotten. Then he created everything else under the orders of the Most High. The Lord gave him the blueprints. It says, in him was life, and the life was the light of men. Right, the light of the Israelite man. All right, and this is the life. Because knowledge and wisdom with the understanding is that light of life, which is Yahushai. It says, and the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. That's what when we read in St. John, the 3rd chapter, that darkness doesn't want the light to shine, in so many words, because the light makes deeds to be reproved. The light makes you look upon yourself and to examine yourself and to see all the flaws that we have. And therefore having to make a change. But most people don't want to make that change because they're in a comfortable state, and that was the lot that was given to them. All right. Now, I'm just going to jump down to the 14th verse. It says, and the word, Yahushua, was made flesh and dwelt among us. And we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. That's why it all begins with Yahushua. He's the Alpha and the Omega. He's the one that the Lord gave the authority to open and close and open. You know, he has the key of David. All right. Before I read that other precept, let's go to St. John chapter 6. There's an order. You got guys that are trying to jump past the order. They're trying to get around the order because they don't come through the door. They come up some other way. And that's what they're known as false prophets, hirelings, whatever you want to call them. You know, the scriptures call them. St. John 6:44 says, no man can come to me. That's why Yahushua also said, I believe that's in St. John, either the 14th chapter or the 16th chapter. I can't remember exactly which one, where it says, Yahushua says, I am the way, the truth, and the light. St. John 8:12, that's what it is. I am the way, the truth, and the light. Matter of fact, let's get there real quick and we'll come back to this, because this is all going to tie in together. St. John 8:12, Yahushua is the light of the world, of Israel. St. John 8:12, then spake Yahushua again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. Beautiful. But there's another one. Let me see. Let's see what comes up with that. Here we go. St. John 14:6. Yahushua saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. That's why we read in St. John, let's just go back to it, 6:44. No man can come to me except the Father which hath sent me draw him, and I will raise him up in the last day. Because knowledge and wisdom is beautiful, but without understanding, it's unprofitable. So we read all of that to go here to St. John 3:17. Now the Lord is that Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Meaning, whatever individual or whatever Israelite, though the light of liberty of Yahushua touches, that's where the liberty comes. That's where the understanding comes. That's why I said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall what? Make you free. Because the majority of the world is caught up under what? Under the spell of this world. And the spell of this world being used by Esau and the spiritual demon Satan and others has them in a dark spell that they can't break out of because they don't have the understanding. 2 Corinthians 4:3. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not. Why? Because you have the light of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and you have the light of Esau. And most people are following the light of Esau because ever since they were let out of their prison sentence during the Renaissance, the light of the wicked started to blow upon or glow upon the earth. And the majority of people, what happened? They got caught up by it. Right? Job 21:17. How oft is the candle of the wicked put out, and how oft cometh their destruction upon them? The Most High distributeth sorrows in his anger. Right. So the candle of the wicked is going to be put out. That light that they have shining across the world. Because remember, it said that when the beast deadly wound was healed, it said the whole world wondered after the beast. Because their light was shining. Because they were the God of this world that blinded the minds of them which believe not. But then the true light has shined in our hearts in these times. And it did away with the darkness of Esau. Which Esau's light is nothing but darkness. So you could understand. All right. So it says, now the Lord, back in 2 Corinthians 3:17, now the Lord is that spirit, and where the spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. But we all with open face, beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord. I'm sorry. Let me read up the 15th verse. But even unto this day, when Moses is read, the veil is upon their heart, meaning upon their mind. And that's why I said the God of this world has blinded the minds of them which believe not. Even so, to where you have Israelites that know that they're Israelites, that are teachers, but they're false teachers. And they're even being deceived by the light of Esau. That's why you see all this madness going on. But that's all right. Everything is supposed to be in turmoil before the Lord comes back. You know, there's times we get angry. You know, I myself get angry, pissed off about this and get frustrated sometimes because I'm still in the flesh. But really, we shouldn't even really get mad because all of these things have to come to pass. The Most High said his words don't go out void. Everything has to come to pass. Otherwise, that would make the Most High a liar. And we know that the Most High is not a liar. So it goes on to say, nevertheless, when it shall turn to the Lord, right, to the true Lord, Yahushua, not the other Jesus, you know, not the other white meat, not the another gospel, not a perversion of the gospel, but nevertheless, when it shall turn to the Lord, meaning when they shall turn to Yahushua completely, the veil shall be taken away, right? And that's when the true understanding comes in and cements the knowledge and the wisdom that you learned. Because the application of understanding is what cements knowledge and wisdom. Because without understanding, knowledge and wisdom is not really as profitable as it would be when someone has the understanding. And that's where you have a lot of simple-minded or simple people, simple Israelites out here just foolishly following whoever. Because they have no foundation. They are not stable. They're not rooted. They're not built up. They're not anchored in. Because their children toss to and fro. So anytime any wind blows, they're blowing with it. That's what you're seeing a lot of individuals now coming to us asking us questions because they're confused. Because they did the very thing that the Spirit has had us to tell them. That's coming right out of the pages of the book. Don't be going to this camp, that camp, the other camp, learning from this one, that one, and the other one. Because you're going to get confused. And don't try to come back to us to unconfuse you. Because the Lord had us to warn you not to do these things. So now let's get into it. The first scripture I have is Proverbs 1:1. And this whole chapter of Proverbs, the first chapter, is a very good chapter to read. The first like 6, 7, 8 chapters, you know. I mean, the whole book of Proverbs is good, you know. But there are a lot of nuggets of wisdom here that'll help build your faith. It'll help build you up. It'll help give you pointers. You know, it'll help you with being wise. It'll teach you Proverbs, you know, and different things that you need in the walk in this life. It'll help you with discernment. It says the Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel. Remember, King Solomon was the wisest king ever. The wisest king in the East. King David was the mightiest king ever, and King Solomon was the wisest king ever. You know? It says to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding. See? So to know wisdom and instruction, because you can't get knowledge and wisdom and forget about understanding if you don't follow instruction. And that's the reason why the Lord set up teachers, which are despised in the eyes of these that learned. We always said this for years. We've been saying it. You have these guys that learn 2 or 3 scriptures. Now all of a sudden they're experts in the Bible. Now they're going to tell you what is and what ain't. When going back 14 years, almost 15 years ago, none of them knew that they were Israelites. Most of them were probably like 6, 7, 8 years old. Some of them 10, 12. Some of them were probably in high school until they learned about this truth. But now all of a sudden, they're these, great, orators and these great master teachers. They're going to tell you a thing or two. They're going to straighten you out. The nerve of these niggas, man. But it says to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding. See, because there's a perception. And if you can't perceive understanding, you're not going to be able to apply the knowledge and the wisdom that you learned. So that means what? You will still remain what? Simple. And I think we read the words. We didn't actually read it yet. Simple. There's different definitions for it. You have free from guile, innocent. In the case of the men that followed Absalom, they were in their simplicity. So they were innocent because they really didn't know what Absalom really had. He didn't really tell them. He just beguiled them to follow. So in their simplicity, they followed him. But they were still innocent because they didn't know what the hell was going on. It says free from vanity, modest, of humble origin or modest position. But this is the one we want. Number 4, lacking in knowledge or expertise. Why? Because they have not gone past the milk stage, which the milk stage belongs to those that are not that haven't been exercised. Thereby, they haven't received the experience needed to get to the level of becoming an individual teacher that can go into and understand the meat. They still on that carnal stage. They're still on that spiritual Similac and sugar water. It says lacking in intelligence, stupid. Which Elder Pastor mentioned this word in his lesson. Stupid. All right. And that's pretty much the 2 main ones I want to get. Lacking in knowledge or expertise, lacking in intelligence, stupid. Because they have not yet reached the level of understanding. Because once you get to the level of understanding, that's where you get discernment. This is why the Apostle Paul said this in Galatians. I believe that's Galatians 4. Right here, Galatians 4:19. My little children, of whom I travail in birth again until Yahushua be formed in you. Because once Yahushua is formed in you, formed in us, then all bets are off because the Lord guides us. We no longer need the tutors, and governors to lead us. Even though we still reverence our teachers and they still, teach us certain things, we still learn from them. But it comes to a point where the Lord himself will guide you. You see? And that's why the Apostle Paul said that. So going back to Proverbs, it says 1 and 3, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, and judgment, and equity. Because all of these things help what? With becoming the future judges. So what we're going through right now is a rehearsal. We're rehearsing the righteous acts. We're rehearsing how to be judges. You see? And we're getting that experience. When you have those people that are fresh out of law school and fresh out of whatever, and they're trying to either become lawyers or judges, they have mock trials. They have different things that they do. They get prepped before they actually go out into the real world, so to speak. And that's what this is right here. It's a preparation. for those men, those Israelite men, the true teachers, to be exercised in the different aspects of the scriptures, because the scriptures is what we're going to use to govern the next world. Yahushua's government, we just read it, in the book of John. In the book of John, when we looked up the word world and the definition of it when he spoke about Yahushua, because Yahushua is setting up his government on the earth, which the Most High, which pretty much is the Most High's government given to him. And that establishment is going to be done off of the words of the book, from cover to cover. So that's what we're learning right now. And we're playing the part of the judges. We're seeing certain things that are being taught, and we're correcting it according to the blueprint of the scriptures. Because the scriptures are the blueprint of life. That's a lesson. The scriptures are the blueprint of life. It says to give subtlety to the simple. See? Subtlety to the simple. Let's look up the word subtlety. So you can, have a sense of how to maneuver. The word is iramah. Shrewdness, craftiness, prudence, right? Which is wisdom, but it's wisdom in a subtle type of way, to know how to conduct yourself, so that we may know how to conduct ourselves. So it says to give simplicity to the simple. And then let's look up the word simple. The word there is pathia, simplicity, naivety, or naivete. Simple, foolish, open-minded. Right, because we're not really supposed to be open-minded. We're supposed to be closed-minded to the truth. Open-minded people go off the path. That's why it says, here we go. The book of Proverbs 18:1. Through desire, a man having separated himself, seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. See, in a bad sense, because you can't be open-minded in this truth. You have to be closed-minded. In other words, you can't be venturing out there into everything that you see out there. You have to build your foundation. Then you're ready with the armor of the Lord to be able to look into these different things. And you could discern. So nope, that's off. This is off. This is off. This is off. A part of what he said there was right, but this other part is wrong. This person, what he said is completely right. So on and so forth. Because you're able to discern now. You see? So going back, let's read that again. To give subtlety to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. Let's look up that word discretion, because that's one thing that a lot of these individuals are lacking. They learn all these breakdowns, all these fancy terms, but they're lacking discretion. Mazamah, purpose, discretion, device, plot, purpose, discretion. Let's look up the word discretion in the Common Dictionary. It says the quality of behaving or speaking in such a way as to avoid causing offense or revealing private information. The freedom to decide what should be done in a particular situation, right? And you heard Elder Pastor mention how the brothers in the different camps used to come on a regular up here when they was first coming in, but they don't really come around that much anymore. Why? Because they're built up. The Lord has built them up. They've received discretion. They have the freedom to operate among themselves. They can judge matters without having to come to us with every matter that they have. Because at one time it was like a constant thing, like a revolving door. But now that those men have been built up and have been given the discretion by the Spirit and power of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, now they're handling matters on their own. And if they come to a roadblock, then they come to us. Just like if any of us come to a roadblock, it just keeps going up the chain, so to speak. And somewhere, somehow, through the Spirit and power of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, the right judgment is going to come on how to do and how to deal with the situation. But that all comes through experience. That's why, matter of fact, let's get it since the word keeps coming up. Let's go to Hebrews 5, because this is another key scripture here. And this is why the Lord said, whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? So who is the Lord going to give the understanding to and build up so that they can become a perfect teacher? Being thoroughly furnished with all good works. Those that are drawn from the breast and weaned from the milk. Or drawn from the breast, or drawn from the milk and weaned from the breast. In other words, they are past the milk stage. Now they're ready for the meat. Now their senses are exercised, as it's going to say here. Excuse me. Hebrews 5:12. For when for the time you ought to be teachers, you have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of the Most High, and have become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat. Why? Because everything has to be done proper. Let all things be done decently and in order. There is a right way to build. When you have those like you see Jake in the street, some Jakes, they get into whatever they get into, and you have the ones that do whatever in the street, just to make money, make a quick buck, but none of that shit ever lasts. But then you have those that painstakingly, devote their time, their discipline, whatever they do. And once they learn their craft, so to speak, then they become successful to a certain degree. Just using that as an example. Why? Because they applied themselves. They showed self-discipline. They sacrificed until they were able to be built up to what they needed to be in whatever craft it was that they were in. And that's the same thing in the truth. You have those individuals, the first thought is they just want to get everything and rise to the top because they want that fame. But then you have those that painstakingly take their time and learn and go through the milk stage and make sure that they're fully grounded and stable, and then eventually they grow from there. And then you see it's a natural thing. And it lasts. Why? Because they let the Spirit guide them. A lot of these other guys that got the fame that they wanted, after a while they get disenchanted when there's no more accolades and no more nothing else to reach, so to speak. Nobody's giving them the praise and the fame that they used to get. Oohing and eyeing and slapping high fives. Inside joke. They eventually they fizzle out. But the ones that take their time through the Spirit and build up and learn the ways and go through the paths and the disciplines that it takes to get there, they usually are the ones that last. So it says, for everyone that uses milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. Right. And it's impossible for a baby to know, to be able to figure out a problem that would take a rocket scientist to figure out. Just to give you an example. It says, but strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age. Right. They're fully grown. They've gone through things to be able to be fully grown. Full age. Teleaos, which is perfection. Brought to its end finished, wanting nothing necessary to completeness. Right. Perfection, full grown, adult, of full age, mature. So you become mature and an adult in the truth. It says, even those who by reason of use, and that's the key, by reason of use, something that's constantly done. When you're trying to, master something, let's say you play basketball, and everything that you do with the right hand is perfect. But you want to accomplish that on your left hand. What happens? You have to do all of that, and you have to put in the effort, put in the work, the practice, and you have to use it. You have to keep, no matter how uncomfortable it may seem at first. And then after a while, you see that you start, laying up with the left hand, doing jump shot, everything. And then you become fully grounded, on both sides. You see? But it's what? By reason of use in anything that we do. So let's look up this word use real quick. Use. Hexes. A habit, whether of body or mind. See? And we're in the profession of having a habit forming thing by the mind. But you have those that have a habit of the body. Like these professional athletes, and such. These different, bands that actually practice. And you could tell the difference between the ones that practice and the ones that have practice. You could tell the difference within a choreographed dance routine that was really practiced on, and one that was half practiced on, and one that was barely practiced on. Like they brothers were playing a session of these so-called Moabite / Ammonite looking children. It was girls and boys, and they was getting down to that James Brown song. They was getting, everything was tight, but I could tell at one point, and I had mentioned this to Apostle Gabar, I noticed at one point that they was on point. They weren't off beat, but I could tell that at that particular part, that one or two dance steps that they were doing, when it was kind of like a solo, but everybody together, I could tell that they really didn't practice that one that much, because it didn't come together like everything else. But had they practiced that more, it would have been super tight. And I just, because I like dancing, I like watching, the dancing and all that. So I could kind of tell. I said, yeah, see, if they would have worked on that a little bit more, they would have got that tight. The brother Barack Gabar know what I'm talking about. He out there, the up and coming elder. But it's a habit forming thing that they do, and that's the same thing with this truth. A power acquired by custom practice use. So it says, but strong meat belongs to them that are full age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised. Why? Because it's a constant thing that's in constant motion and constant repetition. Like you hear Elder Pastor speak about how High Priest Ariel used to go over certain breakdowns over and 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 over again. And he was an expert at it. Why? Because he constantly went over it. Just like Elder Pastor is an expert at it, because it's in constant rotation and constant use. And that's why some people get mad. So, you teach the same thing over and over again. Yeah, but that's how you become a master. That's how you master something, by constantly having it in rotation. Man, what the hell are you talking about, man? Y'all Savior are the Savior of the Hebrews. Check y'all Bible. We waiting for y'all. I don't know what you're talking about. The hell are you talking about, man? Speak English. It says use by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. You see? So it takes a process, and that's where simplicity gets left behind and subtlety gets put on. You see? So let's go from there. Let me see, where were we at? Discretion, which we read the word discretion, which was the freedom to decide what should be done in a particular situation. Why? Because you have been exercised. All right. So let's read this again. Proverbs 1:4. To give subtlety to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear. See, listen good. A wise man will hear That's why it's, let's see. You have 2 eyes and 2 ears. You have to do a lot more listening and a lot less talking. And a lot more watching. James 1:19. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. Yeah, because a fool may be known by the multitude of words. You know? You're not going to get wisdom and learn anything if your mouth is constantly running. You got verbal diarrhea, you know, and you can't get the understanding of how to stop it up. Because you're not disciplined enough to get it. He wasn't good enough, mother. Inside joke. All right, so going back, it says a wise man will hear and what? And will increase learning. It didn't say a wise man will keep blabbing and keep talking. It says a wise man will hear and will increase learning. And a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsel. Right, because understanding being the key, that's where you take the knowledge and the wisdom that you learn and you apply it because you understand it. And that is where wise counsel comes in. It says to understand the proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. See? The fear of the Lord, that's the beginning of knowledge. And a lot of these individuals don't have the fear of the Lord. Just like a lot of these people in the churches don't have the fear of the Lord. Because they're going based off of emotion and based off of something that a man said. Not based off of what the scriptures say. It says, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Right. And if you despise wisdom and instruction, you're a fool and you're going to remain simple. Let's see. It says, my son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother, for they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck. Right. And that's the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of these scriptures. So now we're going to jump down to 20. Wisdom warns, see? And this warning has been going on for the longest, going all the way back to the time of Elder Abba Bivens, all the way up into present day. And you still have these simpletons out here that do not adhere or listen to what's being said. It says, Proverbs 1:20, wisdom crieth without, she uttereth her voice in the streets, because this is where the words are supposed to be spoken at, in the streets. These sit downs are good because they are edifying, they are expedient, but at the same time, you know, the main bulk of the work is done on the streets. And you have those that don't want to go out on the streets. You have those that used to go out on the streets and stopped going out on the streets. It says, she crieth in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates, in the city she uttereth her word, saying. Right, because back in the days, that's where everything was done. It was done in the agora or the marketplace. That's where the word was taught. That's where the debating took place. You know, that's where the scriptures were reasoned at. You know, then you had your times when you were going to synagogues and you know, and go back and forth with individuals, or you may go into the temple to read, you know, the Torah, the Tanakh, so on and so forth. But the main, you know, discussions of the scriptures will go on out in the streets. It says, how long, ye simple ones, will you love simplicity? Right. How long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? Right. It says, and scorners delight in their scorning, and you see that, and fools hate knowledge. That's why when you bring out this lesson or these lessons, you have the scoffers that start talking shit. Some of them are paid agents, and some of them are just fools. And even the paid agents are fools. Because after a while, being a paid agent, unless you're a Edomite or a heathen, you know, if you're an Israelite and you're a paid agent, after a while, you have to be like, I don't know, man, I might have infiltrated the wrong thing this time. Because everything these guys saying is making sense. Everything that they're speaking about, they're bringing out scriptures and precepts, you know, and everything is right there. It says, turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. But the first thing is you have to stop and listen. When you're going down that wrong path, you have to turn around and go the right path and stay on that right path. And if you're a part of the elect, guess what? You're going to stay on that path. Matter of fact, before I read on here, let me go to a few of these other precepts and then we'll come back. This is Proverbs. Matter of fact, let me hold off on this one. Proverbs 14 and 15. The simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going. Yeah. So a prudent man will do what? Will search, look up, look things up, right? Now the 18th verse says, the simple inherit folly, but the prudent are crowned with knowledge. You know, just like one of the great examples of the scriptures, which is the church at Berea. Proverbs 19 and 25, smite a scorner and the simple will beware. Right. And those that are wise, if they see somebody being corrected, they'll be like, man, you know, I better get myself together. You know, we use the example of when you have siblings in the home and one of them is catching a beat down for something. You like, man, whatever they were doing, I ain't trying to do that because I ain't trying to catch that beat down like that. You know, so smite the scorner and the simple will beware, and reprove one that hath understanding, and he will understand knowledge. But you have some of these brute beasts that can't be reasoned with. They can't receive instruction because they're no different than a yak or an ox, you know, or a wild beast, you know, in the wilderness. They're like a ravening wolf. They can't be reasoned with. So going from there to the next one, Proverbs 21:11. When the scorner is punished, the simple is made wise, and when the wise is instructed, he receiveth knowledge. So obviously these individuals that, and the scriptures tell us about that. These individuals that broke away, right? Let me see what these individuals that broke away, they were not wise to begin with. 1 John 2. And it's all about emotions. It's all about, you know, and ultimately it's the Lord, you know, separating, you know, the true worshipers from the ones that are not true worshipers, from the fake worshipers. 1 John 2:19. It tells us here, they went out from us, but they were not of us. See? For if they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us. Meaning they don't necessarily have to be following behind us in the same group, but they would have kept teaching the same things that we're teaching. They wouldn't have deviated, started bringing all type of madness into their doctrine. It says, but they went out that they might be made manifest that they were not all of us. See? Because the Lord is making that distinction and that separation. The ones that don't belong here are going to be moved right out. Whether they leave on their own, whether they're kicked out, or whatever the case may be. And that's just the reality of this truth. So, going back to Proverbs 21:11, when the scorner is punished, the simple is made wise, and when the wise is instructed, he receiveth knowledge. Not catches a hussy, or however you say that, fizzy fit, or whatever, however you say that. A hissy fit. There you go, a hissy fit. You know, he doesn't get his panties in a bunch. As the saying goes. He hears, he listens, he receives instruction, he receives correction, And guess what? He becomes wiser. But you have those out there that are nothing more than brute beasts. And they cannot receive instruction. That's why the Lord cursed them wicked Pharisees in them out. He called them a generation of vipers. And even John the Baptist, when them wicked Pharisees and them came to his old generation of vipers, who has warned thee to flee from the judgment to come. Now, let's move on. Proverbs 22:3. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. And all of this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that's coming out is for what purpose? To get the people, the Israelites, prepared for what's coming. Isaiah 33:6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. Because these words, this engrafted word, is what's able to save our souls. And that's why Yahweh said, because you have kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them. Based off of the words and the instructions that were given to us. But you have those that can't follow instructions. So back in Proverbs 22:3, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. See, the simple pass on and are punished. Why? Because they're not going to receive the instructions. They're going to go and they're going to go headlong. Let me see if I can find that precept. Even though I know that one, there's one that's dealing with Esau. Here we go, beautiful. Job, this is talking about Esau, but you could also apply this to Jake. Job 5:13, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. Matter of fact, let's look up that word headlong. Job 5. Headlong. The word is mahar, which is quick. To hasten. To be hurried, but be anxious. Yeah, because the scriptures also say 2 Peter chapter 2, which Elder Pastor said somebody should break this down, or he said that's another good breakdown. This is 2 Peter 2:3. I'm just going to go straight to the point. And through covetousness shall they with feigned words make what? Merchandise of you. Oh, Lord. I don't think these guys are really reading the scriptures. You know, they just do whatever the hell they want. But this is the point here. Whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not. See? So their judgment is not lingering, and their damnation slumbereth not. Because we just read for the word, let's see where we at. For the word headlong, mahar. To hasten, to hurry, to be hurried, be anxious, hasty. In other words, to do it quickly. All right. So going back to, let's read this again. 2 Peter 2:3. And through covetousness shall they with feigned words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not, and their damnation slumbereth not. So they're fast approaching. So Proverbs 22:3 again. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. I had wanted to read some of this, but I'll probably save this for another lesson, Lord's will. So pretty much, mutual lack of understanding carries the threat of imminent and violent destruction. Alexander Solzhenitsyn, I know I butchered that, but this is true, because lack of understanding will lead to destruction. Because knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times. And the knowledge and wisdom put together with understanding is a cementing. You know? That's the cement. All right. So pretty much with that, you know, I pray that you brothers. Let me see. Oh, hold on. Shalom, brother. Your videos help me and give me strength. It's a wicked world, and only the strong survive, bro. Ever since I came into the truth, the spiritual attacks are real. I lost my family and am homeless. but the Lord still provides. Keep preaching the word, brother. Shalom. Yeah, well, Barakateh Hawabashem Shai, for the inspiration, to do these lessons to help build brothers and sisters up, And that's pretty much it, So Lord's will, you brothers and you few sisters have been edified. Until the next time I say Shalom.